Okay, the next question I'd like to go through with you is still in the 2015 paper, question 23a. What information about a library routine should be documented to enable its use by other programmers? So this is quite a specific question for a specific dot point about library routines. And if you really, it's either you knew it or you didn't, but if we look at the information, enable its use by other programmers. So when we think about a library routine, there's something to do with, like, the author, the comments about author, order and nature of parameters. That section of the syllabus, you can do a quick search in your syllabus document to look it up. So it doesn't say why. However, I would actually, what I would do is talk about how, so let's say if it's order and nature of parameters passed, useful to other, so you state it, then you say useful to other programmers so they understand what, it's comment about, right? Understand what the routine, so remember, it's like a function, remember, like random.randint. If you wrote a library routine, it's going to be available to be used in multiple different cases. What the routine needs in order to function correctly. Because really, there's many things we can talk about a library routine, but the frame of this question is on use by other programmers. So it's quite a subtle difference, but it should direct how you answer the question. What else? I guess, would the author really help? Not sure. Date created might help. But again, it's about the comments, right? And then thorough testing is another thing. But remember, we're talking about should be documented. So we're not talking about like, hey, when you write a library routine, you should make sure it's tested thoroughly. Yeah, that's great, but it's not relevant in this case. When we're talking about the 3, to get 3 out of 3, make sure you hit that point. So fine, if you want, if the author is the only thing you could remember, fine. However, there could be other more relevant things. But anyway, let's write author and date of writing. You can say, helps programmers know when this was written. I know my writing is atrocious, but anyway, I'm also articulating what I'm writing. When this was written, to see if any changes have been accounted for. For example, if the GST came into play in 2008 or something like that, and this subroutine was written in 2004, and it's something to do with prices, then oh, hang on, it's a bit outdated. Not outdated. Then purpose. This is probably more relevant. Purpose of the routine helps programmers understand the reason for the routine and why it exists and how it works. Maybe, look, you're under pressure, just write down what's on your mind, okay? So looking now at the marking criteria, provides a comprehensive list of information required is a 3 marks. Okay, for 2 marks, it lists some information required, which is 2, and 1 is identifies a feature. Okay, so identifies a feature of library routines could be comments, okay, or could be testing because it's a feature of library routines or documentation. List some information required, that's where now your answer may have talked about what needs to be documented. And for 3 marker, it was comprehensive list. So let's have a look at the sample. Program will need to know what the routine achieves, how it's to be called, name, number, type, order, purpose, or parameters passed to it, and return for it. So I think like I've done a pretty decent job. Hopefully I got in the fingertips 3. But let me have a look as well at the answer from the ICT educators. And yep, this is basically straight from the dot points. Yeah, and then a little phrase explaining this is essential to allow other developers to be able to use the library routine easily with no ambiguity as to what is expected from its use. Okay, so that's a question I wanted to recap.